I couldn't get in for some reason. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
Like over the weekend.
yeah, neither could I. So, um, hopefully everything's going to keep working for a while. Um, to kind of talk about this week a little bit, um, as we move toward our midterm, there is two sections to your midterm. One will be the rules of volleyball, and the other one will be the hand signals that are necessary to be a volleyball official. Okay, so I've got this hand signal video in here that is a really good one to practice the particular moves and what they are. So what's going to happen is you're going to come in individually at a set time, and then you're going to go through each of the stations and do it. You get your points. You're going to tell me verbally what the actual signals are. Then at a certain time we'll all meet and you'll do your midterm on paper, and that'll be it. I don't think you're going to have too many problems if you actually take the time to study the stuff we're going to talk about. So it shouldn't be that difficult. So we have the hand signal there. There's an assignment here to where you're going to all you have to do is take each of the signals as they come up and give a synopsis of each of the signals. So basically, you're going to tell what it is, what it does, how, and just it is what is the motion for the official. So like in a side out, arm stretched out straight, palm facing outward to the side, basically to the side of the team who is going to basically serve next. If it shows touch, two hands together on the side of the infraction, whatever the ruling is, that's what it's going to be. And then when we go to the next semester, next after the midterm, then we're going to take the other two sports and you're going to do the same thing in the other two sports for your final. So you have basically that's all you have to work on this week. So what I want to do tonight is now you should be. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Great. So
Yeah.
what I want to do is I found this better than I could do slideshow um, for volleyball. So the general rules of volleyball is rally point scoring, which means everybody, whoever, if you haven't played volleyball or done volleyball, most of you probably have. So it's going to be something's going to be a review. There's a point scored every time the ball is served. Whoever wins the point earns actually wins the point and wins the point earns the point. Each of the games are 25. You must win by two, and you can go on forever. I mean, I had a match that I just did in Vegas that went 43-41. Thought it was never going to end. Uh, Sometimes you play 2 out of 3, and sometimes you play 3 out of 5. Some tournaments are 2 out of 3, but most high school matches and collegiate matches are all 3 out of 5. Um, in a 4-on-4 game, which we don't really run very often, there's 3 players to begin, and 6-and-6 requires 4 players to start. High school volleyball, you must have 6 players to start the game. You must in club, and if you were doing club or something like that, you could start with 6. If someone was to get hurt, the only way that you can continue is if the person stays in position and is able to stand and stays in position. And when the serve happens, you step off the court and you stay out of the way, and then you come back in. So you could play with 5. Other than that, the game is basically over. Uh, this is the only thing that's wrong here. Teams get 2 timeouts a game. They're either 30 or 60 seconds based on the actual team. So most teams, in most arenas, in the old days, you used to get 2, and if it went scored, if you went tie score at 14-14, you got one more timeout. They took that out and for the speed of the game, and you get 2 timeouts for the entire game. I'm sorry, I keep saying game. It's called a set now, not a game. So substitutions can only happen during a dead ball, and you can see the substitution signal. It's kind of like a traveling call in basketball. He goes right in front of you, and you put your hands together. Um, in terms of the officials, there's generally an up official and a down official. If you're the up official, you're the only up official. You do every job. Last weekend, I worked a national volleyball tournament in Las Vegas. So top 24, a lot of the top 25 teams, 64 team tournament. The first day, the teams from the Midwest, Kentucky, and that say you don't have a down official. I say I don't need one. And halfway through the day, they say you really don't need one. And but you deal with everything. You deal with substitutions. You deal with everything. When there's two officials, you can see on here the referee who is and this is wrong though. It's the up official has has specific duties, and in the next video we do, I will probably use that. I will talk more about their positioning and what they see. I'll have some video for you on that. Um, the referee has the responsibility of maintaining court decorum, making sure that all 12 players are on the floor. They beckon for the serve, and and that the umpire takes care of the scoring table, the benches, substitutions in the court. They do work together on a lot of these things in terms of hand signals, and they're coordinated. But each person has a specific duty. One thing that's real important is the captain's meeting before the game, and that's a real key to the whole match. No different than there's the same thing in football in the middle of the field, basketball at the center of the court. The captain's meeting happens generally right in front of the scorer's table. Things that are discussed are the actual playing surface and the roof above, what any obstructions that are in the way, what is going to be out and what is going to be in play, substitutions and how they're handled, and who is basically the floor captain. Then at that point, you flip the coin to see who either gets to serve or receive. Some real simple stuff at this point. Out of bounds. The ball is out of bounds when it touches the floor. It used to be in the old days, if it touched the ceiling at any time, it was out. So if I bumped the ball too high, it would hit the ceiling. The ball was a side out. Well, now it can stay. If it hits the roof, it can come down on your side, and you continue to play. But the ball cannot be hit the roof, and then go over. Outside the antennas is out. Okay. So if the ball goes over any part of the antenna, okay, if any part of the ball goes over the antenna, it's out. If it touches any part of the line, it's in. If it's outside the line, it's out. Okay. All 12 players, 6 on each side, have to be inside the lines. The ball can touch the net on the serve and go over. Okay. The ball can touch the net in play and be played. Okay. But in high school, the player itself cannot touch the net. Okay. In club, the antennas are out. The top of the tape is out. So it's only the actual antennas and the top of the tape. So you can hit the net, you can rake the net, you can almost go through the net as long as you're not interfering with the other side. So it becomes a much more difficult, uh, thing to switch between high school and club, because the kids are just coming down swinging and hitting the net, and it's kind of like a free for all. It's one of the things I don't like about what goes on today. Let's talk about the service now. The service is set up to where there is a player that it has to be behind the end line and not outside the sidelines. Okay, that server serves the ball on the beckon of the serve. It has to be hit with one hand, a fist, but it cannot be held. Okay, even if it's an underhand serve with the younger kids, they must move the ball from the hand. The ball must leave the hand and hit the ball. Depending on the different arenas, whether you're doing club or college and that, everybody has a different mode. If you're in a club, if you're 14 under, you get 5 seconds. The ball can be dropped, but it cannot be caught. Okay. When you move up beyond 14, you toss the ball, you must serve. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You can't let the ball drop. You can't catch the ball. As soon as you do, it's a side out. And moving on to high school, you can let it drop, or you can catch it. Either way, you get a reserve and you get to do it over. Now you see the picture on here. The hold on. I had to restart. You can see here that the beckon of the serve is arm straight out, and you move it toward. So if you're moving it toward, he would move his hand all the way over to where that patch is. That's how you beckon for the serve. It's always the hand is out on the side that's actually serving, and you're basically telling him, okay, please serve it over the net if you can. Screening is a little more advanced. Okay. There are two types of screen. There's a collective screen and there's an individual screen. You can see what the individual screen does. You can't wave your arms. You can't jump up and down. You can't stand right in front of the server. Now, a collective's screen is when 2 to 3 people are standing together and they are in a direct line with the server, so that you have a player playing the ball, people at the net, the 2 blockers at the net, and then you have a server. If that person can't see the server, they have to move or put their hands down or move apart a little bit to be able to see the hitter. The only caveat in this one is that for it to actually be a screen, that ball must travel over the actual blockers that are screening. So you cannot have a screen until the actual contact of the serve, and of course the penalty is a side out. You'll very rarely see that called. Now, you could get a lower level, somebody waving their hands or running in front. So, illegal service. That's where you put your hand straight out and lift it straight up. It's got the same notation as a held ball. Okay, so your hand goes straight out and you lift straight up towards your shoulder, keeping your elbow bent at 90 degrees. This is where you hit the ball illegally. Okay, which means you could, cup the ball, kind of threw it over, did make contact with 2 hands, touching the end line, serving out of order, doesn't serve within the 5 seconds or 8 seconds, depending on which level of play you're at, and attempts more than one or uses more than one reserve. So if I serve and then somebody takes my place and I serve, then it's an illegal service and it goes to the other side. Again, that's the same thing as a point or a side out. Service faults. Hits the net, doesn't go over. Okay. Hits your teammates. Serves outside the line, serves outside the antenna. Okay. And then you can be out of position. Those are the different faults. And then basically what happens is that you give the call for the fault, okay, which could be just about anything, and then you give the number of the person who made the fault. Live and dead ball. It's live the moment of the serve. It's legally served. So it's the live ball. The only way the ball can be live is the contact of the serve, and then of course it becomes dead when there's an error or the ball hits the ground, goes outside the antennas, or something else happens where if there's an interference, a ball on or something like that, or if it make a foul, double call, or somebody hits the net. Okay, contacting the ball. Contacting is a touch by any player on the ball. You get basically 3 contacts, a maximum of 3 contacts. Okay, a block does not consist of a block is not a portion of the contacts. Okay, as long as the person, when they're blocking, are in a blocking motion with their hands above the top of the tape. If they're standing on the ground, standing there like a blocking motion, the ball hits them, it's a contact. So person goes over, blocks the ball, now you've got 3 contacts to put the ball back over. Anywhere in 3 contacts, it's a 4 signal with your arm at a 90-degree angle out from your shoulder with the 4 fingers up. Okay, there's a little more to that, but it's not as necessary right now. We'll talk more about it later. In terms of volleyball now, the ball can be touched by any part of the body in almost every arena. So you can get it up with your foot, you can get it over with your head. There's a lot. There's another word down here called a joust. That's when 2 players go up for the ball at the net and they both make contact at the same time and the ball stops. Okay?